The World Cup is almost here. All the teams finalized their squads last evening. And like we said it here first, off-spinner, all-rounder, R. Ashwin has made it to India's World Cup squad. He has come in place of Akshar Patel, who's yet to recover from his hamstring injury. In fact, just last week, we said R. Ashwin would definitely make it to the Indian squad. Here's what some of our experts have to say about Ashwin's inclusion and what he brings into the mix.
I think Ashwin's presence in a dressing room is invaluable. I mean, he's someone who thinks 360 degrees when he's part of a cricket match, and he's quite ahead of the game as far as his thought process is concerned. At least, well, I used to talk to him. That is the feeling I got. So having Ashwin in the change room is always going to be beneficial, no matter which team it is.
In terms of how Ashwin has been bowling and how he bowled in the last game as well, I think there's no question whether or not he can do a job for you.
All right. We know that is going to be crucial for the days that's leading up to the World Cup, especially for India. But all teams, including India, are getting ready to put their final tweaks in place ahead of the tournament that begins on the 5th of October. This especially with almost every country being hit by injuries. That's the reason why R. Ashwin also came in. It's not just thrown a lot of their plans out of the window, but with an ODI World Cup only coming in once in 4 years, it's a big blow for anyone who's worked towards this glorious moment in their careers. So let's look at those who have been unfortunately sidelined and how does that affect the sides with injuries and which teams have been affected by this. Here's a list of those ruled out of the World Cup. Now we'll start with Sri Lanka. Waninda Hasaranga, of course, Waninda Hasaranga out with a hamstring injury. We know he's such a handy all-rounder. We've seen how impactful he can be with the bat and ball. He's out. So is Dushmanta Chamira. Pectoral muscle injury, also injured during IPL and failed to recover post that. Now, if the list continues, we look at Pakistan. Naseem Shah, that's the big blow. It was key for Pakistan's campaign to have him in the unit. His absence will be surely felt. Let's look at the next side. Bangladesh. Now here again, two injuries and two players out with injuries. One, of course, is Ebadat Hossain. The pacer picked up a knee injury against Afghanistan in July, had a knee surgery in August. Tamim Iqbal, of course, on paper says he's out due to injuries, though he claims that he's fit to come back. He's had a foul out, he's had a few differences with the board, and he's pulled out of the tournament himself. Going on, if we look at the next set of players who are missing, this is a big one and someone we're not really too surprised with. Jofra Archer, though he is travelling as reserve, we know that he's very injury prone. He's just come back. Even though we know he's travelling, how many games will he feature and how much will England really pen their hopes or put their plans around his appearance in the 11? And of course, this is the one that hurts India the most, Akshar Patel. He was key, especially as an all-rounding asset. He has not recovered from his hamstring injury just yet that he picked up very recently in the series against Australia. And speaking of Australia, if we look at the next set of injuries, Ashton Agar, again, someone who in fact made his debut in the Australia A side in India. That'll be a big miss. A calf injury he picked up earlier this month, and sadly that's the reason why he's not been included. Travis Head, by the way, again, has been injured, but he's still included in the squad. They're looking for him to come back from recovery. And if we look at New Zealand, Michael Bracewell, of course, missing missing out on due to a right Achilles heel. He got injured during June and couldn't take part. And if we just sort of wrap up the list of injuries and move on, that's a big one. Again, another pacer ruled out. That is Andrik Noke, one of the most experienced hands for South Africa. He experienced back spasms recently in the ODI series against Australia, and he's been ruled out. So too Sisanda Magala, another pacer who's out because of a knee injury. Now, all the sides are, of course, gearing up for the World Cup. And the warm-up matches, as we know, have become critical. Now, in terms of getting used to the conditions, that's what is key for them. And that's why these warm-up matches are important. They can tweak their combinations or just seeing how players returning from injuries fare. And that's the case across a lot of teams. Warm-up matches are not played traditionally like your full international games. Here, you can test out your squad strength. You can pull out a batter who's scored considerably enough number of runs to put someone else in who needs some match time. You can bring in additional bowlers to get their arms rolling and get them warmed up to get used to the humid conditions that India is currently experiencing at this time. So tomorrow, there are of course a couple of warm-up matches lined up. India will play England in Guwahati and Australia plays Netherlands in Thiruvananthapuram. Now, that's what the weekend will look like. That's the fixtures then. And our build-up for the World Cup will begin from Monday. You have to tune in for our World Cup programming special, which is the Cup of Dreams, where we will get you analysis, some inside peeks, and all the makeup of the different teams, some key interviews, all of that and more. Our build-up here at Firstpost will continue. So do keep latched on to Firstpost for all of that.